Hello soulmates, you're welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time of seeing my channel, thank you for stopping by. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for watching. So on this tutorial, we're going to be learning how to make this conical corset, which have a deep V neckline effect. So if you're interested in watching this, please join me while we get started. Okay guys, on my pattern paper, I'm just going to go ahead and draw a straight line, a vertical straight line at the side like this, and then I'm going to go at the top and draw a straight line as well. So that straight line is going to be my starting point, which is also my shoulder line. So from that point, I'm going to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 14, divided by 2 is 7. I marked it there and I came down by 1 inch. So from that 1 inch, I marked my armhole depth, which is 7 inches. And how did I get that? Which is my bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5 was what gave me that measurement. So from that point, I drew a straight line and that line became my chest line. So I'm just going to go ahead from the top and mark my bust measurement, that is shoulder to bust, which is 9.5, shoulder to under bust 13 inches, shoulder to waist 16 inches, and then shoulder to the hip is 24 inches. My distance between the waist and the hip is 8 inches, so that's what I marked there. So after doing that, I just went ahead to draw straight lines across them, and after drawing these straight lines, I'm just going to go ahead and label them. Okay, so I went ahead to label chest line, bust line, under bust, waistline, and then the hip line. Okay, so from that chest line, I'm going to mark 7 inches, which is the distance of my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and then I'm going to connect the 1 inch I came down from the shoulder to meet that chest line. For the neck width, I used 3 inches, neck depth 3 inches. Then I'm going to connect the neck width and neck depth together with a curve like this, and then from the neck width, I connected it to the shoulder for the shoulder slope. To get my armhole depth, I took the midpoint of that armhole depth and I came in by 0.5. Then I marked my bust measurement divided by 4 on the chest line, and I'm connecting these 3 points together. This is to give me my armhole curve. Okay, so I'm connecting it from the top of the shoulder to the 0.5 inch I came in from the midpoint, and the bust measurement divided by 4 on the chest line. So after that, I'm going to take my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. Mine is 7 inches, divided by 2 is 3.5, and I'm going to go ahead and mark that on the bust line, the under bust, the waistline, and the hip line, and I'm going to connect them together with a straight line. So after connecting that, I'm going to come to the underbust area and I'm going to mark 1 inch on both sides of that line, and I'm going to do the same thing on the hip line as well. So I'm just going to connect these lines together with a straight line like this. So after that, I'm going to come to the bust area where I marked that line earlier, and I'm going to come down by 0.75, and I'm going to use my curve to connect the underbust to that 0.75 I marked on the bust area. That is the nipple to nipple line on the bust area. Okay, so after connecting these two together, I'm just going to come to the chest line area, and I'm going to come up by 1.5 inches. Okay, this is how covered I want it to be. You can come up by 2 inches, you can come up by 1 inch, depending on how you want the cleavage to be opened. Okay, so after marking that, I drew a straight line. Then from there, I went ahead to mark the nipple to nipple measurement as well, and connected it to meet the bust area where I marked nipple to nipple measurement before. So from that point, I went ahead to mark 1 inch on both sides as well, and I'm connecting them together with my curve like this. Okay, so now we're going to get the neckline design and the cup. So the neckline extended to the under bust area, and for us to do that, we're just going to come up from the bust line. We're going to come down rather by 1 inch. Then from there, I came in by 0.5. Okay, so now from that 0.5, I'm going to connect it to the under bust like this with a straight line. Okay, so that is how deep the v-neck is going to be. You can do yours whichever way you want it. So now I'm going to connect that first point where I marked the first dart from that 1 inch from the over bust. I'm going to connect it to meet that 0.5 I came in from the bust area. Then I'm going to connect it from that point to meet the under bust like this. So you can see what I did. I'm just going to trace it with my marker to make it very visible. So you see, I connected it from the top to meet that 0.5, and from that 0.5 I also connected the under bust, and then I also went ahead to connect this other part where I have it extending to the under bust. So now I'm going to come to the other side, and from the chest line I'm going to come in by 0.5, and from that 0.5 I'm going to come down by 0.5. That is from the armhole curve. Okay, then I'm going to connect the other dart to meet that 0.5 I came down from the chest line like this. So from that point where you came down 0.5, you're just going to extend it to wherever you mark your measurement. So this is me just trying to measure the darts to ensure that they are equal. Okay, and after ensuring they're equal, I'll just go ahead and connect it as well. So for me to get this other area or this other part of the cup, because the side of the cup is always bigger, so I'm just going to take my measurements. Okay, so first of all, I'll take the distance I have between the bust and the under bust, and what I have there is 3.5. So I marked that 3.5 inches, and I came to the front to mark the distance I have taken away before I drew my cup, and I added it. Okay, mine was 0.75 from that bust line, then I added it, and from that 0.75 I'm going to connect it to meet that point where I've already marked the cup, to come and meet the underbust like this. So this is how I got my cup. So after doing this, I'm just going to go ahead and take my body measurement. Okay, so now for you to take your body measurement, you're going to take your body measurement, that is your the circumference of your measurement. For example, I'm taking my hip measurement divided by 4, and I'm going to add the dart allowance and my body seam allowance. Okay, you can add 1 inch, you can add 1.5, depending on how much allowance you want. So I'm doing the same thing for the under bust area and the chest line. And mind you, for the chest line, I took the dart allowance also from that area and I added it as well. So for us to get the hip line, that is for that conical effect at that hip area, so first of all, I connected the normal hip line together. Then from that point, I came down by 6 inches. So after marking 6 inches from that point, I'm going to go ahead and close the dart for us to get that design at the lower part of the corset. So I went ahead to close my dart and I used my tape to secure it properly. So after doing this, I'm just going to come to the side front from the waistline. I'm going to come down from that waistline by 2 inches, and I'm going to mark it there. Then from that area where have my dart, I'm going to come down by 4 inches. So from that point, I'm going to draw a straight line for that 4 inches line, which is going to be a guide. Then from there, I'm just going to take the midpoint, that is the difference I have between that dart area to the side of the waist. I'm going to take the midpoint, and from that midpoint, I'm going to come up by 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to come up by 1 inch. Then from there, I'm just going to connect all of them together. So watch me while I'm doing this connection. I just went ahead to show you the process I took in doing this again. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect it with a curve. So watch me while I connect this with a curve. See what I'm doing. From the 2 inch from the center front, I connected it to meet the 4 inch from that area. From that area to meet the 1 inch, I came down from the midpoint of that space between the dart and the side, and I also went ahead to connect it to that down. So now, for us to actually get that effect, I'm just went ahead from that 6 inches, I came down from the waist and I extended it by 1.5 outside. Then I'm going to use my curve like this. So please ensure you use a French curve. If you don't have a curve, you can use your free hand to do this, but it's more advisable you use a curve to get that shape. Okay, so I use that curve to connect that waist to that 1.5 inch I came out from that 6 inches I marked earlier, and I'm going to use my marker to make this visible so we can understand what I've been saying since. So you can see what I did. Now you can see the shape coming out like this. So I also went ahead to trace that other part of the waist that had the conical effect. So now this is what we have. I'll just go ahead and open up the darts, and this is how it's going to be. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. Okay guys, so at this point, if you find this tutorial very helpful and very interesting, please ensure to give us a thumbs up, share this video, leave a comment, subscribe to our channel so you can be notified when we upload new videos. Okay, and if you have any question, please ensure to leave it in the comment section. Thank you. Okay guys, so after cutting out the pattern, I'm just going to go ahead and label them. Okay, I'm going to label the side, center front, side front, then the cup as well. I'll label the center front, side front, indicating arrows where they are meeting, and I'm also going to label the yoke as well. So after that, we're going to the back pattern. Now I've repeated the same process I had from the front to the back, marking the shoulder to bust, shoulder to chest line, shoulder to waist, and shoulder to hip. Then now I'm just going to go ahead and mark the neck width and neck depth. So I'm using a neck width of 3 inches and a neck depth of 2 inches. Then from that 3 inches neck width, I connected it from my shoulder slope, and I'm also going to connect the neck with a slight curve like this. Then for the armhole area, I'm just going to repeat the process of taking the midpoint of the armhole depth, coming in by 0.5 at that point, taking the bust measurement divided by 4 on the chest line, and connecting them together to get the armhole curve. Okay, so after that, I'll be taking the bust pan, that is the nipple to nipple measurement, divided by 2 on the chest line, the bust line, the waistline, and the hip line. And after marking them, I'm just going to go ahead and connect them with a straight line. So after connecting them with a straight line like I'm doing right now, I'm going to come to the waist area and I'm going to mark 0.5 inch on both sides. Then I'm going to be connecting that 0.5 inch up to meet the chest line, just like I'm doing right now. And then I'm going to come from that waistline as well, come down by 4 inches, and I'm going to connect that 0.75 dots to meet at that 4 inches like I did for the top as well. So now after doing this, I'm just going to go ahead and impute the body measurements. The hip measurement divided by 4, I'm using a hip measurement of 36. I'm using the bust measurement of 34. I'm using the waist measurement of 26. Okay, so if you are on a plus size, please, you can use a dart of 0.75, and for the front where we use 1 inch on both sides, you can use 1.25 on both sides. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't put that at the front area when we were working on the front. So now from the waistline, I came down by 6 inch. I'm trying to repeat the conical effect I had at the front part, so to make it easier, I just brought the front pattern, placed the waist at the waistline, and went ahead to trace it exactly so that I can get the same thing for the front and for the back. Okay, so after tracing it, I will just use my marker to make it very visible so we can see it well. Okay, you can still use your cuff to do this, or you can use your free hand, whichever one works for you. So now I came from the dart area by 4 inches, and from the center back I came by 4 inches, and I connected it with a curve. Okay, so when I am done connecting this, I realized that there is a little bit difference from the back. Okay, so what I noticed that towards the side there is a curve in that area. So what I did is I came from the side, I came in by 1.5, and from that 1.5 I came up by 1 inch, and I marked that 1 inch. So I used my curve to connect the edge to meet that 1 inch. You can see what I'm doing like this. Then I went ahead to connect it to the 4 inches from the center back that I marked before. Okay, so this is okay. I just went ahead to indicate that that other line is no longer going to be useful. You're going to be working with the upper line, so ensure you smoothing that area so that it doesn't look pointy. Okay, so now from the chest line at the center back, I came down by 0.75, and I connected it to meet the armhole. Now after this, I'm just going to show mark that, indicating the areas that we are not going to be using, that is the lines we are not using. So from the neck depth, I came down by 2 inches. Okay, I came down by 2 inches. So I just came in from the chest line and I marked 2 inches on the chest line, and from the hem area, that is the lower part of the dress, I came in by 1.5, and I connected them together, then putting these circles there to indicate where we'll be having the lacing. Now from that part where we are going to be having the lacing, that line, I came in by 3.5 inches. This is me trying to determine how wide the yoke is going to be at the back. So you can use whatever size you want, it's up to you. Okay, so I'm just trying to get that back yoke effect. So I'm just going to connect that 2 inches I came down from the neck depth to that 3.5 inch I mark, which is close to the armhole. So after that, I'm just indicating the areas that we're going to be cutting off. So now at this point, I'm just going to see that area where we have the yoke. I am supposed to come up by 0.25, but because we have already slashed the back area by 0.75 from the center back, we're not going to be cutting the yoke directly from that line. We're going to be cutting the yoke the other way. So just watch me as I cut it out. So for the back pattern, I went ahead to cut it using that 0.5 inch we came down normally, and after cutting the back, I'm going to go ahead and cut the yoke. So for the yoke, watch me, I'm not going to be using that extended part again because I'm trying to avoid any form of bulginess at the back, just to ensure that that yoke is tightened. So I'm going to be cutting the yoke from the first line we drew earlier. Okay, so take note of that. Then after that, I'll just go ahead and cut the other parts of the yoke as well. And after that, we have gotten the back pattern. I'm just going to go ahead and label it center back, side back, and then the yoke. So if you want to add more darts, you can take the midpoint of your waist there, draw a straight line, and add 0.5 inch on both sides, then connect it and cut it out. But if you don't want to, it's fine, you can leave it this way. So at this point, we are done with this tutorial. Thank you for watching. See you in my next video.